Hello everyone, this is Evan. Welcome back for another showdown and our look at different LMSs available for Iowa teachers. Today we're going to look at Edmodo. Edmodo is a light LMS. It has many of the features that teachers are looking for when it comes to blended learning. You're going to notice it is missing some features that a full LMS like Moodle, Canvas, or Schoology have, and that keeps it from being an optimal choice for fully online courses. However, for blended learning or using with your students, it's very easy to pick up and to use, and we often recommend using it for younger students as opposed to the fuller LMSs. When you go to edmodo.com and you get to that site, you can create a free account. Sign up as a teacher. When you do create an account as a teacher, you're going to be able to set up as many courses as you like. In each course you have a code that you're going to give to your students. We'll show you that process in a second. Students can also create a free account, and parents can as well. This system doesn't allow you as an institution to manage it as easily. You could pay Edmodo to have a site that would let you manage it a lot easier. This is more kind of a lightweight one that you'd use when you don't really need to manage student accounts. You just kind of let them sign in and do their thing. Okay. All right, let's go to my account. Here I am logged in as a teacher. Right now I just have one fictitious course available over here. Edmodo calls their courses groups. So a little different, and again the thinking behind that is different than a traditional learning management system which develops courses. This isn't necessarily meant to develop to be used at the secondary level with their courses. It's meant to be used kind of informally, where we might have groups of students working on different things. Very easy to go and to create a new group. You just once you've logged in, you just click here to create a group. In our showdown, we've been looking at recreating a course called Presentation Zen. It does require you to pick a grade, but you can select a range. I'm going to do that. I'm going to make mine for the high school. And then I'm going to go ahead and select subject area. And I'm going to change the color. You don't have to change the color, but it will. If you do that, it'll help you color code your groups over here on the side. Okay, so now I've created my course, and again, out of habit, I'm going to call it a course. Again, Edmodo calls it a group. You see here is a group code. That's what you're going to give out to your students, and that's all they need in order to get to the right spot. You can send them an invitation directly if you know their email addresses, or if you want to invite parents, you can do that here too. All right. Our first step that we're going to go is we want to add in a topic header. Remember, we've got in our course, we're created a unit, and right at the beginning we've got some instructions we want to add. One of the frustrating things for teachers who work in kind of a traditional format is that they're used to having things kind of laid out sequentially and laid out hierarchically. So you kind of start with your overall introduction, and then all of your assignments kind of work underneath it. Light LMSs such as this don't work in that way. They work in a timeline, and as things get added in, they get added in and the timeline kind of scrolls down. The best way to compare this is a wall in Facebook. It's very much like that. And again, this will be a new way of structuring your learning that works much more intuitively for teachers who are not developing like a full course, but they're just kind of using this as a day-by-day accompaniment to their class. We can do a few things though to get around that. So let's go ahead and grab our content, and here it is. With this, I had a link that I wanted to put into it to go out to the site, and I had an image that I wanted to put in. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to paste in that information right here as a note. You notice that you don't have really a whole lot of choices with formatting. You can't go in bold, italics. It's going to be hard to go in and format other than just kind of some basics, putting in some returns to help space things out. I can't make my font size bigger here in this note. It's some of the limitations you have to work with. You can put it in an image. I'm going to go ahead and do that here by attaching a file, and this is the image that I'm working with. Unlike other LMSs, you know, in the past showdowns, I've been able to put it and wrap it around. Here I can. It's just going to add it to the bottom. Same thing, I wanted to go and take this word here and make it a link out to the website. Fortunately, I can't do that, but I can put in a link here. And it's going to ask for a title, and we'll go ahead and attach that. Okay, so you can kind of see here you can do a lot of the same things. It's just a little differently. The nice thing about this is it's pretty intuitive. Teachers, when they're sitting down to learn how to do this, they don't have to figure out too much. Because it's simpler, there's a little less to have to worry about. Go ahead and click send. Now that sends it as a note. If I have students in, they'll see that this is the latest thing that's been added, and they'll also see whether they've read it or not. What I can do in this format is I can pin it, and I'm going to go ahead and pin this one. That will keep it up at the top of my wall, so to speak, and then the other things will kind of flow in underneath that. Now you can pin and unpin things quite a bit to try to get them in the order that you'd want. Some teachers get really frustrated with trying to micromanage the pinning process. But there's kind of a look at how you go and you add that topic header with the image and the link in it there. All right. Next item I want to do is I want to add in a video. I want to embed a video within this. Now, in other learning management systems, you're actually able to embed videos right within here. You actually can do it. It's the same process as doing a link. I'm going to do it a little separately. And let's go to grab my embedded video. Here it is. Grab that code. I'm going to paste the code in. Oh, actually, no, I did that wrong. This is where I type in my video. So I'm going to, I think I call this one presentation fail. And then I'm going to click here, and this is where I paste in that embed code. And it's going to require me to put in a short description. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in again. Actually, I called it just presentation fail. And click send. Okay, that's going to add it in, and again, it'll put it below the pin, and there it is. Now, what it will do is, because it is an embed, Edmodo does a pretty good job of going and grabbing that and putting here so it doesn't have to take you to the website. It keeps you on that site. Keep in mind, if you're doing things with YouTube or what have you, it's up to your own district's policy of whether students can reach YouTube. Some of the schools block YouTube and such, and this is not a workaround to that. If your school blocks YouTube, this won't load on your site. But that's how you go and you embed a video within your course. All right, next item is we're going to put in a link, and you probably can figure out where we're going with this. I've got a lesson that I've created off-site through a tool called SoftChalk. That's a great way of creating the lessons, and it gives me a link by which I can go and then just put in a link for that. So I'm going to go ahead and go to grab that link right there. And I believe I called this presentations in one person's journey. And you put that in there. And again, going to require you put in those items. And then you click send. You have noticed that you can schedule it for showing up later if you'd like, so you can create stuff and then not have it appear later on. You can't hide it and unhide it as easily as you can in a full learning management system, though. So again, just because of the nature of how it works. So here it is laid out. If I click on the link, that's going to take me to my lesson. And there it is. Okay. All right. So we're getting our things put in. You can see how the wall is being built based on the time that you have added. So far we have added in just a header, which is in Edmodo, just a note. Got a link and an image with that. We've also embedded a video, and we've put in a link. All right, our next item is to go and add in a page. Now, under a traditional learning management system, we said we want to go in and put in headers in some spots and then have other information, kind of like in a header, where you would click a link and then it would open up in a new page. Now, you can't quite do that within Edmodo, but you can do something pretty close. And it's going to be really creating another header. So I have within my document, I go back here, I've got my page that I wanted to create, and it is this. And within that page, I want to go ahead and put in the embed code because I have a video for it within that. Put that in, and I do need to put in the a title for it. I click attach, and I click send. Okay. I could have put a picture with it as well. Here is the way that looks. And there's the video that I have got. Now, if this had had a lot more information in it, what will happen is, like this one here, it will not show the full post. You'll say click, it'll bring up a button that says view full message. When I click on that, it actually pulls open that information in a new page. So that's the way they do new pages. You go and you click it and it opens up like that. It's not quite as clean as learning management systems do. It's not as easy to go and kind of control the user experience as a teacher so that you have things set up the way you want them to, but it still works. All right, next item in our showdown is to look at adding a document, and this is pretty much the same process we looked at before. We looked at adding a link here. We also looked at attaching a file for an image. We can do the same thing if we want to go in and add in a document. I have a PDF down here, and put that in, and this happens to be called the naked, can't spell, naked presenter. It is G-rated. It's not what you think. It's actually a really good document to read. I'm going to head put that in. I've uploaded the document, and I click send. And it doesn't matter what type of document it is. You can put in PowerPoints, Word documents, anything on your file, and it'll put it in there. So then, if I were to click on that, it would download that document. You can see this happens to be an ebook, free ebook that he has produced. And because it's a PDF, I can view it within my web browser. If it wasn't a PDF, or if I had my web browser configured this way, I would instead have to download it to my desktop, and then I could read it. Okay. Next item we're going to look at is adding a Google Doc to our course. Now we have a syllabus that we've got in Google Drive, and here's to take a look at it right here. And you can see, just put in Google Drive. I want to add this to my course. Okay, just like anything else, as a workaround, I can always download it as a document and upload that document. I could also grab the link for this if I click on share, for example, and I could grab this link and put that in. Okay, but Edmodo allows you to add the document in directly. So I'm going to go ahead and put down class schedule, and I'm going to attach a file. Nope, I am not going to attach a file. I'm going to click on Add from Library. Okay, now a library within Edmodo, these are things that you have created, so you can go in and reuse documents. You saw this in Moodle and Canvas and some other tools like a learning management system. So it's a way to go and upload things and then gather them again. But it's also a way to go in and connect to another repository. So here is Google Drive. It would ask you to connect to your Google Drive account first, which I've already done. So I'm going to skip down here, and the one thing is you can't really search within it, so that becomes a little tedious. Oh, I didn't do that right. You can search within your library, but you can't search within the Google Drive. So I need to go in and get down, because mine was built on November 13th, I believe. There it is, presentations and schedules. So I had to click more files a little bit there. Okay. You can set it up so that you allow users that have connected their Google accounts so they can edit it when it's put into that. Otherwise, it'd just be view only. So I've got it selected. I click to add. There it is. Now I'm just going to go ahead and click send, just like everything else we've got in the course. And then I'll put it in. You see, again, we're adding them in as we go. Okay, and here it is. And so if I click on that, that's going to bring up that file. Okay. Well, some teachers will use just, again, grabbing the link and putting it in. Some will not want to look through the link. They just want to browse through their category, and that's fine too. Note, this does not do the Doctopus method. If you're familiar with Google Docs and you know what Doctopus is, that's what it does is you go in and you take a file and you attach it just like you did, and it would create a separate file for each student in the class. This does not do that. It creates just the one document that we go and access. All right. Next item is we want to add in a forum. Now this will be a little different. You can do this and it actually works pretty well. A forum, though, they don't have a tool called a forum here. You can see assignment, quiz, which we'll add in a little bit later. Poll, which is a nice little survey item, but they don't have anything called a forum. What they don't say up front is that whenever you create something, it actually is a forum. You can go in and you can reply to it, and then once you do, you can make your reply down there. So adding a forum is really not a separate process within that. So I'm going to go grab my content. Try that again. Grab my content. And I'm going to go in and paste that in. Okay. And I am going to go and click send. One thing I would encourage you to doing from an instructional design standpoint to help make this stand out is if you would like students to participate, I would create like a little image or a button of some sort that says forum, and then I would attach that image. Obviously it'll put down at the bottom, but then that adds a visual cue for students to know that they've got to go in and actively participate in this rather than just read it. This helps out tremendously in the process. Now note, when you do this, it won't necessarily create an assignment with points. We'll look at that process next. This will just be something to have the students do. You can combine kind of the forum activities with the assignments to get it so that you can have points if you'd like. So I click send. And we go down to where it posts up. There it is. And then I can click in my reply. And that will post it below. Okay. As a teacher, I can go in, I can edit and delete replies. As you can see, this is not a threaded or nested forum. It's a flat forum. You can only really reply to the original post. So you can't necessarily reply to replies, reply to reply to replies, those type of things. Okay, next we're going to look at how to add an assignment. I mentioned we had the assignment tab, so you click here. And when you do, you can go in, grab your text. I already have it highlighted. It saves me some time. Now, I actually don't want to put it all into the same spot because it separates out the title and the description. So I'm going to go in and grab the title first. Paste that in, and then I'm going to put in the description down here. Okay, same things apply. I can add in an image. I can add in a link if I'd like. I can add in files. I can add in something from my library if I want to do that too. They also have it where you can load an assignment. If I click here to load an assignment, this will allow you to pick something that you've done in the past. And I'm going to go ahead and cancel out of that. I can then set the due date for the assignment. Let's make that due Friday. And then I could go ahead and click send. You might have wondered, hey, where do you set the points and everything? Well, that's done on the back end, and this is where it's a little different than learning management systems. In a learning management system, all of the options for creating assignments would be probably about 3 or 4 times as much as what we looked at right there. Again, that's the trade-off. It's much more simple to learn how to do this, but you don't have all the bells and whistles and the options for doing things. So we've created that assignment. There it is. Again, the text there, an image that went along with it. If students had completed, we would click here to see this. We could see the assignment overview, which is nice, and then how many have been submitted, and then also what the average grade would be for that. And again, we'll take a look at how that looks here later on. All right, our next item before we get our students involved will be our quiz. Let's go ahead and add in a quiz. This is a feature that Edmodo added after they had gotten started, and it's a feature that's kind of a nice, simple feature. There is some sophisticated things that Edmodo is trying out with connecting with Common Core and other tools. That's a little beyond the scope of this showdown. If you're interested in that, I'll show some of the things at the end of the advanced feature area, but I would encourage you to go on to Edmodo's site and go through a tutorial of some of those items on your own. Also, Atomic Learning has quite a few tutorials on each of these steps. I click Create a Quiz. Does have an in-step tutorial on how to do that. I want to go ahead and add a multiple choice question and go to my quiz. Okay, so you can see here where I don't have the spot to add in that text. We'll take a look more at that in a second. We just go straight to the questions. So I'm going to grab that question type, paste that in, and then I'm going to fast forward through this a little bit, but I'm going to grab each of these questions and put those in. Okay, so now you can see I've added them all in. You saw I had to add some responses in there as I went. I'm going to go ahead. This is the correct answer here. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm done with this question. So I'm going to go ahead and create a next question. You can see I can go back to number 1 if I want to edit it later on. Now number 2 is a multiple answer question. Check all that apply. As you can see, I don't have that as an option. I have multiple choice, true, false, short answer, fill in the blank, and matching. So I can't do question 2. It doesn't give me as many options for that. I will move down to this one where it says multiple choice with a picture. Here, when I do that, I'm going to have what I would have to do in order to get that set up is I'd have to go into my library and upload an image here as I've done before, and then attach that to there, and then I could go in and make those responses. The next item is true false. That one we can do. And I'm going to change it so it's true false, and then that answer is true. Okay, so I kind of cut down on my quiz a little bit, only 2 questions, but you can see how you can add in other questions as well. It does give you some controls. You can control the time limit. You can change this quiz. So this one is welcome to the course quiz. And I can randomize the questions. I can put some other information in if I'd like. I can preview it to test it out. And I didn't get my last answer in there. So I'm going to need to go back in. Yeah, I think that's good right now. So okay, so there we go. And now we've taken a look at all of those features. Go ahead and click done. And I've put in the quiz. I can put in that due date, and I can add that to the gradebook, and I can click send. Oh, sorry, I'm going to put the due date in there. And then you'll see it down below. It kind of treats it like an assignment, says who's turned it in and such. And again, I can go in and put announcements down below to remind people about that. All right, we are ready now to add a student to our course. Now you see over here I had that code. I'm going to go ahead and copy that code. Normally I would email that out to students, or if they're in my class I could write it on the board and they can type it in. I'm going to go to a student account that I've got, and I've used this student for a variety of other things. When I'm logged in, I'm going to click on join a group, and I'm going to paste in that code. Click join. And when I do so, I'm going to refresh my screen here because I have this in there a couple of times. All right, so and as a student, I see the course listed here. I can scroll down. I can go and click on view the full message, and you can see how that brings it up in its own separate page, which we talked about creating pages. When you go here, take the quiz, and I think that one is the first one I want, and I'm gonna miss one on purpose, and click submit. Okay, I get immediate feedback, just like other learning management systems. They're set up so I can see what's answered. I don't get like written feedback here on those, so it's a simpler version of the quiz, but again, it works out pretty well. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my course. By the way, if you didn't notice that, if I ever click on the home screen, the way that sets up, if you're in many groups, it kind of shows you all the different groups on one page. So it's kind of like a home page or a dashboard for students, like their own personal wall. And then only when they go into the group page do they kind of see the information for that course. All right, turn in an assignment. I'm going to type in, here is my response. I could click it and turn in just like that if I wanted a text-based assignment. This one asked me to attach a file. And let's say this is the file that I wanted to attach. So that's my presentation that I created. I could also go and add something from my personal backpack as a student as I submit things in. When I go back in, you can see I uploaded that, and now that's available. I can add that, and I can also add things from my Google Drive. Not attach that to the post, just than what I did. All right, and then if I go back to the course and I go to that forum, I type that in, and that will then appear. And as a student, I can go in, I can edit, I can delete it. Mine. Okay, now I'm going to go back in as a teacher, and we're going to look at the grading process for Edmodo. So I'm going to refresh my screen. The student has submitted it while I was away, and now I can see, yep, it's been turned in, and I can see the breakdown. This student got 1 out of 2. If I had lots of students put in there, it would list out all of their scores and it would tell me by question which one they got right or wrong. Pretty simple feedback with that. I can click on it and I can see what they put in. So if they had multiple choice questions, those would appear. You can see that this answer is not filling in correctly for some reason. It was on the part where the student was taking the quiz. And again, you can see what they answered there. Okay. And I can go in later on, I can lock the quiz if I wanted to, and I can also say, go look at the gradebook. If I click on all submissions, that tells me again which students have taken it, what the average score is. Also, with the assignment, I can go in here, click on Turned It In, and I can check out the submissions. There's that one, it says it's ungraded. So I'm going to go ahead and click on it. I can look at the file, I could download it here. I can go in and annotate documents. This is kind of nice. Now, this was a formal item that I created. But I can go in here and say, and I could go in and I could draw some information if I'd like to bring attention to certain things if I want to. This kind of insight editor you're used to with Google Docs, but you can also now do it with PowerPoint presentations and whatever else that a student might be submitting. Okay. If I wanted to download the document, I could do that as well. Okay. Up here, I can go in, I can give the grade. You see here was where you add in that score, so I'm going to give it 10 out of 12. Click grade. I can edit that later on. I can add in a comment. And now if I go in as the student, and I go back to the course, and I look in, it'll show that it's graded, shows the points. And if I click on graded, it's going to show me the feedback and says, hey, check out those notes. So I can go in and I can annotate that as a student as well. See what the teacher has added. All right, now that we've added those scores to those assignments, you can see over here in the Assignment Center, as a teacher, this will help you kind of keep track of those things and see what's been added there. If I click up here under the progress monitoring, I can go into my course, and this is the gradebook that's within it. You can see how it's added in here, and I can put in a manual grade if I would like. So let's say class participation, and make that worth 10 points. And when I do that in here, I can add in another grade for my student there. And I can go in and override the scores from the other assignments if I would like. This will give you a percentage total, and then as a student, if I go in and I check my progress, it'll list it out in this manner here. All right, so we looked at the grading and the gradebook feature. Now let's take a look at how you can communicate with students. Edmodo has some ways you can do that. It's built pretty much into the same structures that we had before. What you can do is you can go and look at the members of your class, for example, and you can see who receives email notifications. You can check out, by the way, their progress here. That's their individual student progress report. You can check out their activity here. And you can go in and give them a comment directly to them if you'd like, right there. Otherwise, you can go in and when you type in a note, you don't even have to be in your class, you can be on your home page, but type that in here. Here, instead of sending it to the entire group, I can start to type in the student's name and then click that and I can send it. Okay. In this case, only the student is going to get this post. Other students won't. Again, if I'm in my course, same thing. Type in my note here. Instead of having to be the whole class, I could type in to that one student, and then that student will get to that. Okay, and as a student, if I go under here, under notifications, you'll see here that the direct message has been added, same as if it appear here. You can click on that, and then you can apply. And again, that will that is the same as having it appear here, and that'll also appear in my notifications. All right, so those are the basics of the course. We're going to look at a few advanced features here before we wrap up this showdown. I mentioned that there are utilities and apps that Edmodo has been expanding in that you can go and embed within the site. These are kind of add-ons. Some people really like these. You can go and find those over here. You can buy some at the store, or you can go in and go to your app launcher. These are different apps that you put in. For example, Office Online, we put that in the photo editor, in a planner and such. If I click on Manage Apps, some suggested ones might come up that I could go in and I can see again they're free or what have you. If I wanted to go and find them, I could go to the store and look at different free apps. And let's say the CK12 Science Practice is something I want. It is free. I'm going to go ahead and click and add that to my course. Agree and install. Alright, so now that I've added that app to the course, I can utilize it. That particular one I've used actually adds some functionality to quizzes and assignments, so you can go and grab from that in there. The apps work in different ways, so you'll have to go and kind of play with those yourself. If that's something that you want to add in to your course, you can. Another feature that, again, learning management systems have these too, but it's one thing that works really well with this at kind of those elementary ages, is the badging. Now, I had mentioned that you can go in to your course and you can look at your students. And when you have done that, you can go in, you can check their progress. And it will check, this will be by grades. You can also see by activities what they've, the posts that they've made and such. But you can also see where you can award a badge. Now, you can go in and create your own badges if you'd like, or you can add in your own. So I want to add in a good citizen to this person. I've done that. Now that will appear here into that list. And that's kind of just another feature you could go in and add in. Those can be small, they can be big. Whatever you would like the badge to be, whatever credentials you have, you go and you manually assign it to the student. All right, and that's a look at Edmodo and some of the features for that. Again, with our recommendation, we strongly suggest using full-fledged learning management systems for secondary grades, as well as for blended learning to fully online learning. However, if you're working with younger students and you're working with a simpler blended learning type of operation where you're just kind of going day by day, you don't have to structure full units online, this works really well. It's very easy for you as a teacher to get up to speed and use it, and it's very easy for students to use it as well.